Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on CryptoGrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? We've got so much stuff to talk about today, it's not even funny. So we've got Microsoft and Meta beating their estimates. They beat the street, so that's a good thing. That's why you're seeing futures up today. Then, what else happened? So it sounds like somebody blinked in this US-China trade war. And China is saying it was the U.S. since they're the ones that received a call from the current administration. Fine, whatever it is you have to do to save face, I don't care. Everything right now is bad for both countries. Both countries know it. They've got to get to the table. But this is further evidence that, yeah, Scott Bessent is not necessarily somebody I would trust whenever he opens up his mouth. Just saying. Because near term, yeah, it wasn't near term. I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to what comes out of everybody's mouth when it comes to managing my bag, right? I showed you guys the other night that there was an article from a source that I greatly respect, and it was disappointing to see an article in there that was blatantly false. Blatantly false. So not fun. Not fun at all. Let me just say this. So we have to pay attention. Do your own research. Know your entries and exits. And absolutely invest deliberately. That's the GMB3. You have to do that in every aspect. Every aspect. Right? You have to. What else is going on? Galaxy Digital. I told you on April 13th that Galaxy Digital was going to launch or going to go public on NASDAQ, right? The only thing we didn't have was a date. We even have GLXY, right? Now we have a date. Now we have a date. For all those people that took my class on doing your own research, you could see it coming, right? You could see it coming. You could break up the news and get those pops. So the first one was, oh, hey, we're going to move and we're going to go IPO on NASDAQ. Second one, oh, hey, we're going to go IPO on NASDAQ May 19th. Right? So what's the next one? Oh, we went public. Like, so there's a buildup to that crescendo, right? It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of something we should be paying attention to. So all I'm saying is that we definitely have news coming in May that's going to be good stuff. Definitely going to be good stuff. Now, there could be some trade deals that'll also buoy the market and create a catalyst kind of space. So there are a lot of things that we can be paying attention to, and that's just one of them. So yeah, originally reported on 4/13, and now on 5/1, we have a date. And then that date will come, and we'll see what happens. And so that would be 3, right? And the optional 4th would be, look how well we're doing. Or whatever news that they're holding to be that fourth bit of news. That's going to be very interesting to me. That's going to be like incredibly interesting to me. Oh, you know, I forgot to tell you guys, don't forget to invest in yourself today. There you go. There you go. What else do we have? U.S. inflation hit a record low in Q1 2025. Not bad. Not bad at all. So personal income rose. GDP contracted. Yeah, you see the mix. And Bitcoin surged. It did. Bitcoin is $10,000 higher than what it was. That kind of is a surge. I'm just going to put that out there. So when you look at the numbers that we've gotten, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. So where's the argument to decrease rates next week? There really isn't one. Excuse me, there really isn't one. So next week, I'm not expecting a rate drop. I'm really not. I wish I could say I was, but I don't see a good reason to. I do not see a good reason to. And remember that Q1 earnings reports are a backward look, not a forward look. Remember that. Something else that we should be thinking about is even the projections have been altered for a lot of these companies. Looking forward, well, we're expecting, less product on the shelves, by the end of May, blah, 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 blah. You get a lot of that speak, decrease in outlook, yada, yada, depending on the kind of business that it is. That starts to set the table. It starts to set the table, but it starts to set the table for a recession. That's what we're trying to fight against. I don't know if that's going to happen. Robinhood's Q1 earnings, pretty good, 252 million. 40% of their money, close to, and their earnings revenue soared 50%. 40% of that success comes from crypto. 40% comes from crypto. Crypto is doing so well that Anthony Pompliano is looking to launch a $200 million SPAC, ProCap Acquisition Corp, on NASDAQ to target fintech and digital asset firms, leveraging his media presence and crypto sector experience. Anthony's playing big boy games. He's a trader that adjusted to crypto a long time ago. A long time ago, right? I went to one of his events, I want to say late last year. Really good event hosted by, or sponsored by Fidelity. Sponsored by Fidelity. Anthony Pompliano is not a small guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's been in the game for a really long time, right? So, sometimes I agree with what he's saying and sometimes I disagree with what he's saying. But he's a really smart guy. So I'm watching out for this particular SPAC, because what he's going to be doing, he's leveraging his influence. He's leveraging his influence. So yeah, that's an interesting move, and I'm definitely paying attention to that one. Absolutely paying attention to it. Then you've got North Carolina passing HB 92 and advanced SB 327. And that would allow up to 10% of public funds to be invested in Bitcoin and other digital assets. I like that. And other digital assets. And there seems to be a growing trend in certain states. So we've got one state that's waiting for signature. We've got another state that's getting close to landing it on the governor's desk. Excuse me. There are a lot of positive things that I look at and I kind of go, this could happen. This could happen. But my question is, before you make all these statements that you want to invest in Bitcoin, you want to do this, you want to do that, is there somebody on that team that actually understands crypto? So, for example, Strategy had invested in crypto, and then crypto jumped all the way up to 69,000, and they kept investing. And then as it dropped all the way down to, I think, like 16, they kept investing. They held true to their faith, right? And everybody was criticizing. Where is it now? Yeah. About 95,000. Let's see. 96, my bad. 96,122 is where it's at right now. My question isn't about just Strategy riding it all the way down and buying even down there and then coming back up. My question is, can the public handle that? Is that something that the public can deal with? That's the question. That's the question. Or would it wind up being, they're going to wind up buying high, they're going to wind up feeling the dip, And that dip, how depending on how far it goes, can they hold fast and keep going? Are they actually going to treat it as, oh, we're just going to dollar cost average into this particular asset? Because wouldn't that be smart? So I just really wonder if they're just pushing out bills, right? Or are they really looking at this from a fiduciary perspective? Are they being financially sound in what they're doing? I think it really is a good play, but I think they need to have somebody on their team that can help them manage that. And I hope all these states that are moving in this direction really do have somebody on the team that can help them get through something like that. And we've got Bitcoin supply on exchanges at like a 7-year low. Like a 7-year low. That's crazy, right? And it's because institutions are buying via ETFs and buying straight up and throwing it into cold storage. Wow. ETFs and institutions. Shocker there. And then you have also normal, right? Normal retail investment. So yeah, exchange volume, exchange is holding Bitcoin. That amount is coming down in a big fashion. Now, that also makes me think about all the banks that are trying to get into the crypto space that before you get into this crypto space, you've got to have liquidity, right? So if you want to have Bitcoin, you have to have liquidity. If you want to have Ethereum, same thing. If you want to have this coin, that coin, this coin, that coin, you got to have the same thing, which is why I said it might be easier to go buy a small exchange than it is to create your own exchange. Sometimes rolling your own is not as easy as you think. As with some of these really old platforms, really old. Some of these platforms are still running on antiquated technology where some of them should be moving into newer technology like Angular, React. Just saying. So there's a lot to going into, we have a platform, we can just build it in. It's not just the dev work, the development work that has to go into that, but it's also, what are we going to support? What are we going to support going forward? What's helpful to people? There's a lot of work that goes into that. There are a lot of business decisions. It can't just be made on a whim. You've got to stop and you've got to think about, how are we going to do it and what are we doing? Because if you're a bank and you can only afford to get into 2 coins, go buy or partner with a small exchange while you continue rolling your own. That's not going to be good enough. So a couple of nights ago when I told you that, some neobank cut a deal with, some Dutch neobank cut a deal with Kraken to offer 300 of Kraken's coins. Okay. To its 17 million people. There you go. That's the one. Which, when you bring it back, another connecting of the dot, when you look at what Anthony Pompliano is doing, then you hire a guy like Anthony Pompliano to talk about what it is that you're doing. What? Yeah. This is what I mean by connecting dots and figuring out where things could go. When you're an investor, that's all you're doing. So when I tell you to do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately, that's what I'm talking about. You want to have a deeper understanding? Go buy my book. The GMB3, The Art of Research, Timing, and Deliberate Wealth. It's available on Amazon. And one of the first things that I teach you, I give you a whole lesson on how to do your own research. I take each one of those points and I break them down against business, crypto, and stocks, and how they could be applied to the various aspects in those 3 spaces. I'm here to educate. I'm also here to be educated. Yeah, I'm not one of these people that pretends that I know everything, because I don't. This community teaches me stuff every day. Every day. So yeah, I'm having fun doing what I do. U.S. Department of Treasury forecasts that stablecoins are projected to reach $2 trillion by, what is it, 2028. Market cap of $2 trillion by 2028. Stable coins alone. They didn't say the market, they said stable coins. Now, we touched on this last night. Hutanik was like, yeah, well, when you look at certain things, you could definitely see how stable coins could gobble up U.S. Treasury bonds, because that's one of the laws about it. Right? So, yeah, you think about that. You really think about that, and you say, well, yeah, they could eat that up. The question becomes, do they want to? Because if I have to, I mean, is that something I actually want to hold? Do I want to hold U.S. debt? I mean, right now, the U.S. doesn't seem like it's trying to pay off a lot of debt. I mean, we're trying to pay our bills, don't get me wrong, but to actually bring down that debt, we're not seeing that. That's something to think about. No, I think so. I'm thinking about that like all the time. Wow, you guys didn't tell me I hadn't have the logo up? For shame, for shame. What else is going on? We got Grayscale launched the Bitcoin Adopters ETF, BCOR, tracking companies with Bitcoin in their treasuries, offering diversified equity exposure to the corporate Bitcoin adoption trend. They said they were going to do this. They said they were going to do it. And not for nothing, that's a brilliant idea. Because a lot of people want to know, well, out of all the public firms, who's holding? Now you can go find out by yourself, right? All you have to do is go read all the annual reports. Just go read all their reports, and it'll say if there's a line in there for Bitcoin or other digital assets. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Somebody's going to create that index. I don't know if we will, but somebody's going to create that index. And that's going to be interesting to watch. Not to mention, you've got Metaplanet that's about to expand with a subsidiary here in the United States, because they're on a Bitcoin buying spree. So it's going to be interesting to watch them do that. Something else that I was paying attention to, so we still have BRICS nations talking about how they want to, bring down the dollar, de-dollarize, right? But they're having a hard time with it. They're having a hard time with it. BRICS is developing digital currency initiatives to challenge USD dominance, but structural and political hurdles make full displacement unlikely. The dollar remains entrenched in global finance. Yeah. I think the only thing that could remove the dollar as the dominant, currency are going to be digital assets. And that's what has, some certain governments around the world like just freaking out. But, if we're going to be looking at things, I kind of look at movies and I try to see like, how does that equate to, real world? Whenever you watch some of these movies, some of these futuristic movies, there's like one currency on the planet. Not many fiat. They're usually just called credits, right? There's no name given to them, just credits. And you're like, wow. And even when you go galactic, you've got different worlds with their various credits, and it goes world by world. And in some cases, it's a single credit for the whole universe. And you sit there and you just kind of go, wow. There are some interesting things that are going on. Right? Some very interesting things that are going on. And I'm just like, wow, just what part of it comes true in the real world? And I'm sitting here watching it come true. Because when I think about who can actually dethrone the dollar, I'm like, name a currency. The digital yuan? I don't think so. China's economy is not strong. Let me put it like, not strong enough. Russia? No. India? No. So you just look around. I'm just like, yeah, you have a lot of things that are going on that, yeah, you can't handle it. Can't be done. So I'm kind of like, yeah. But then you turn to digital assets, and it's digital assets are growing. The use cases are growing. The specializations are growing. The integrations are growing. The adoption growing. Just saying. So there are things in here that make you stop and think about it. They really do stop and make you think about it, right? But you know what we should do now that we're on that track? That's right. We should look at the numbers. So let's go do this. There you go. Let me get my notes out of the way. Sorry about that. So yeah, like I said, futures are up. Good place. Now, I happen to be looking down. I saw this. Tesla denies report that the EV maker is looking to replace Elon Musk. That's normally not news for me because I'm not invested in Tesla. I'm just not. But imagine having such things going on. Good morning, Stitchy. Can you wait until after the show? Okay. All right, young man. Wait until after the show. No, I just want some love. So imagine, you have a company and your CEO is, absent for so often that you've got to come out with statements, right, about whether or not you're looking for a replacement for him. That's sad. That's sad. So I'm hoping that they do step up their game. We've got earnings reports expected from Apple and Amazon. We got Meta and Microsoft yesterday. Apple obviously would be greatly impacted by tariffs. Are they affected right now? No, because they had that airlift of products. So for right now, it's chill time. But unless they get that taken care of, it's going to be a problem. So I'm not expecting anything big from them. Amazon, they're directly affected. There's another company that's directly affected. So, looking backward at Q1 earnings, everything was good, blah, 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 blah. It's the projections that I'm worried about. That's what I'm thinking about. If I am CEO, I'll be able to... Yeah, possibly, but you're a public company, so you're not going to say pound sand. You'll ruin your stock. You'll absolutely ruin your stock. And your stock is based off of futures. It's based off of futures. So fully self-driving cars, like, where is that? He's been saying it since 2015? Where is that? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's coming next year. It's coming next year. It's coming next year. He's literally said that almost every year since then. So yeah, he doesn't have that kind of clout anymore. Like, seriously, think about that. Today's Thursday. What do we have going on? Initial jobless claims. We've got S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI, ISM manufacturing. We've got auto sales. We've got construction spending. More data that can be used, not for May, but I think this data is going to go into June. And that will be interesting. I put the chances at 50-50 for June. Fear and greed index is at 53, down from 56. Previously was at 63. So yeah, DeFi Llama, yeah, we're down. We're not down. We're kind of just stat. Yesterday was about 106. We're looking at $106.82 billion at total value locked right now. Not bad. Over 100. Over 100. I'm a little bit happier. I really want to be over 150. Right? Because, these are the highs over here. I want to be at about 150. I'd be happy with that because it shows something. Now look at this. Bitcoin moving ever so higher within my pink band. My pink band goes from 93,434 to 99,655. 99,655. That's a very big deal because that puts us basically right in a little bit less than the middle, but it puts us in striking distance to that $100,000 mark. It really, really does. It really, really does. What else we have? Looking at the big board, you see things in green. I'm sitting here and I'm seeing things in green. I still see things that are on sale. I still see things that are on sale. This is who we should focus on. Yeah, But most people don't understand about the Bank of International Settlements. They don't think about it like that. They should. They should go get educated on it. You're absolutely right. What else are we looking at? Yeah, you look at the numbers and you kind of go, well, Bitcoin is, only at 0.8% in the green. So it's flat for year-to-date earnings. Same thing for, XRP is a little bit up. Tether just makes money. Like I said, $4 billion a quarter. And their deal with the agriculture deal that they have just closed. They got into an agricultural company. Just out of the blue. Just, okay, we're going to invest in that. Talk about diversification. Holy moly. Tether's on a rip. Tether is on a rip. But you see all these coins? To me, these are all, these are opportunities. Look at Cardano, down still 19, almost 20% year to date. Now, in the past 30 days, for Sui, holy moly. But almost 20% when you look at this guy. And you go, well, for the past 60 days, 66%. I'm looking far over time for Cardano. I think Cardano has the ability to blow other coins away. I really do. I really do think Cardano has a way to blow other coins away, and I'm just sitting back and waiting. I just DCA, DCA, DCA. That's all I do. DCA, DCA, DCA. Chainlink is another one. We were just talking about this the other day. It'd be nice if stablecoins built their own wallet so you can earn interest. I don't think you require that. You can go to different exchanges and get the interest. People are going to be looking at that. I think for some advanced people that'd be nice, but I really do think that what you really should be thinking about is the education of other people to help drive general pricing up. And the reason why that's a big deal is because you get that from a centralized exchange, and centralized exchanges already have deals in place to do that. So Coinbase has a deal with USDC. They just cut that deal with, who is it, RLUSD, Ripple? It's either that one or PayPal. It might have been PayPal. I think it was PayPal. So those are things I'm looking for. Why? Because they have greater reach to be able to educate a broader swath of people. And that's going to be the big deal. And then you've got banks coming online. Some of them want to have their own, their own cryptos, their own stable coins. A bank with its own stable coin? Why? I still haven't seen an answer. Why? But you figure they'll also kick in and start educating people. Just saying, there are a lot of things that we could be doing that can help educate people and move people in the right direction. That's just me, though. That's just me. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor and smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community. And don't forget to tune back in tonight at 8 p.m. when we have the next show, which is called The Crypto Overflow. Happens 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And not just the day's news, but how the day's news affects our bags. Everybody, have a great day. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. Have a good one. Bye-bye.